It was just another day in Manhattan, living my luxurious life at the Park Hyatt, New York on 57th Street. I was relaxing there, sipping a cocktail, when suddenly, at around 8:30 p.m., federal agents showed up. They smiled and calmly said, "Sean Combs, you're under arrest." They slapped the cuffs on me, and all I could think was, how did it come to this?
On the night of September 1st, 2024, the famous rapper and producer Diddy, owner of the iconic Bad Boy Records, was arrested in Manhattan after being indicted by a grand jury. The charges? Sex trafficking and racketeering. But here's the thing. A lot of the abuse accusations against him date all the way back to 2008. We're talking almost 20 years of criminal activity right in the middle of Hollywood. How was this allowed to go on for so long?
I'm Sean Combs. You might know me better as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or just Diddy. For decades, I was on top of the world, a hip-hop mogul, fashion icon, and self-made billionaire. I had it all: fame, fortune, influence, the ultimate American success story. Now, I'm sitting in a cramped jail cell, facing charges that could put me away for life. How did the man who was given the key to New York City end up behind bars, branded public enemy #1? It's a long, complicated story, one I'm still trying to wrap my head around. But let me take you back to where it all began. The year was 1993. I was just a hungry kid from Harlem with big dreams. I dropped out of Howard University to intern at Uptown Records. I was determined to make it in the music industry, no matter what. When I got fired from Uptown, I could have given up. Instead, I doubled down. I started my own label, Bad Boy Records. I had an ear for talent and a nose for hits. Soon I was working with icons like Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and Usher. I know you've heard them. Thanks to me, you can listen to them. Hit after hit climbed the charts. The money started rolling in. Before I knew it, I wasn't just producing music. I was a star in my own right. By the late 90s, the Puff Daddy name was everywhere. I was selling out arenas, winning Grammys, and living large. Private jets, mega yachts, mansions on both coasts. I was making power moves in fashion, launching my Sean John clothing line. Life was a non-stop party. And let me tell you, I threw the best parties in town. My white parties in the Hamptons were the hottest ticket of the summer. Only A-list celebrities could get in there. Jay-Z, Lil' Kim, Leonardo DiCaprio, the Kardashians, all dressed in white, living it up at my waterfront estate. Many would have killed for an invitation, but only the best of the best could get in. Not just the best, though, only those who knew how to keep their mouths shut, because what we did there, it was better if it didn't end up in the tabloids. It wouldn't work in our favor. Looking back now, maybe I got caught up in my own hype, started believing I was untouchable, that the normal rules didn't apply to me.
But as Diddy rose even higher, dark rumors began to swirl. Stories of wild drug-fueled orgies, of young aspiring artists being exploited, of a powerful man who thought he could do whatever he wanted, to whoever he wanted. For years, the whispers remained just that, whispers. After all, who would dare speak out against one of the most influential figures in the entertainment industry? A man worth nearly $1 billion, with friends in the highest places.
But in November 2023, the dam finally broke. My ex-girlfriend Cassie, the famous singer, filed a lawsuit against me. She claimed I'd subjected her to years of abuse and sexual assault during our relationship. The allegations were shocking, that I'd forced her to engage in sex acts with male prostitutes while I watched and filmed, that I'd plied her with drugs, that I'd beaten and threatened her. I denied everything, of course, claimed it was just a shakedown attempt. We settled out of court within 24 hours. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Cassie's lawsuit opened the floodgates. Suddenly, women were coming forward left and right with similar stories. They talked about something called freak-off parties, gatherings where I allegedly drugged women and coerced them into sexual acts, often with hired male escorts. The feds say I recorded these encounters without consent, then used the videos to blackmail and control my victims. They claim I built an entire criminal enterprise around exploiting vulnerable young women. It wasn't just about sex either. There were accusations of violence, threats, and intimidation. One woman said I'd kicked her and stomped on her. Another claimed I'd thrown a champagne bottle at her in a nightclub. 120 victims. Can you believe it? 60 women and 60 men talking about what I did to them. I think some of them were minors back then. I can't remember. I had to be honest with you. When all this started coming out, I was freaking out. Where were all these stories coming from? I kept insisting it was all lies, but it seemed like every day brought a new allegation, a new accuser. My lawyers couldn't get those women to keep quiet anymore.
As the accusations mounted, federal prosecutors took notice. They began building a case against Diddy under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO. RICO was originally designed to take down mob bosses. It allows prosecutors to tie together a pattern of criminal activity over time, even if some individual acts fall outside the statute of limitations. By framing Diddy's alleged crimes as part of an ongoing criminal enterprise, prosecutors hope to paint a picture of systematic abuse spanning decades. They weren't just going after isolated incidents. They were trying to take down an entire operation.
This is serious. The feds are coming after me with RICO charges. This isn't going away. My stomach dropped. I knew what RICO meant. It's how they got Al Capone, John Gotti, and R. Kelly. Once the RICO train starts rolling, it's almost impossible to stop. But surely they wouldn't come after me like that, right? I'm Diddy. I've got friends in high places. I've done charity work. I've been to the White House, for crying out loud.
But Diddy's powerful connections may have been part of the problem. As the case unfolded, questions arose about how many people in the industry knew about his alleged behavior and looked the other way. Some of music's biggest names found themselves caught in the crossfire. Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Justin Bieber, Usher. How much did they know? Had they enabled Diddy's actions by staying silent? The case was becoming a reckoning not just for one man, but for an entire culture of celebrity impunity.
March 25th, 2024. I'll never forget that day. I was in Miami trying to lay low and let the whole thing blow over. Suddenly, my security team burst in. "Mr. Combs, we need to move now." We raced to the airport, but it was too late. Federal agents were everywhere. I watched helplessly as they raided my homes in LA, New York, and Miami simultaneously. My name was in the headlines. It was surreal, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart on TV.
The raids revealed a trove of damning evidence. Investigators reported finding large quantities of illegal drugs, including cocaine and MDMA, multiple firearms, some with serial numbers filed off, hundreds of hours of explicit video recordings, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants, financial records detailing suspicious cash transactions. You can now see the sheer scale of the alleged criminal enterprise. This wasn't just about one man's misdeeds. It was a sophisticated operation involving multiple properties, employees, and co-conspirators.
I've always denied the accusations in those civil lawsuits, calling them sickening claims from people just looking for quick cash. My lawyers have really gone after how those raids went down, with agents from Homeland Security showing up with guns. It was an excessive use of military-level force. That was my narrative, my script. It was supposed to work. I was in control. But then, everything changed. Stupid CNN released a video, not just any video. It was that hotel surveillance footage showing me physically assaulting and kicking Cassie back in 2016. I thought, damn, they've got me. That was me. How the hell was I going to get out of this now? I had to put out a video apology on social media, calling my behavior inexcusable and admitting that I sought professional help. But between you and me, we both know that's bullshit. I didn't care about it at all. All I cared about was myself. Brands started cutting ties with me, and I was losing too much money. What the hell was I supposed to do now?
Combs' mansion in the fancy Holmby Hills area of Los Angeles, where federal agents conducted a raid in March, was listed for sale at $61.5 million. Clearly, Sean Diddy Combs' lavish empire was falling apart.
So here I am, Sean Combs, former king of hip-hop, now a regular inmate at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. How's that for a fall from grace? They've got me in here with white-collar criminals, drug lords, you name it. I even heard Sam Bankman-Fried, that crypto scammer kid, is a few cells down. It's a far cry from my mansion in the hills, let me tell you. No more champagne brunches or red carpet galas. Now it's mystery meat in the cafeteria and 1 hour of yard time if I'm lucky. But you know what the worst part is? The isolation, the betrayal. So many people I thought were friends have turned their backs on me. My phone used to ring off the hook with A-listers wanting to party. Now, crickets. Are they afraid I might start naming names?
The prosecutors surely have too many names, but one in particular stands out, Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo, man, she was my girl. She had my back. People don't know half of it. They all see her in the spotlight looking perfect, but they don't know what went down back then. That night in '99, the gun, everyone talks about Shine, talks about me, but no one ever wonders how that gun got into the club in the first place.
At the height of their fame, Diddy and J-Lo were inseparable, becoming one of the most high-profile couples of the late 90s. But Lopez was more than just a bystander in Diddy's world of excess and violence. She had been implicated in one of his most notorious scandals. In 1999, there was a shooting at Club New York. 3 people were injured in a chaotic exchange of gunfire, and Diddy, along with Lopez and rapper Shine, fled the scene. As police chased their vehicle through the streets of Manhattan, the tension reached a breaking point. When officers finally stopped the car, they found a gun, a stolen weapon that would later lead to Diddy's arrest, only for a short time.
She knew what she was doing. We all did. And when the cops came down on us, she didn't hesitate to play her part. She smoothed it all over, kept quiet, made sure no one pointed fingers at her or me. They let her walk, but people forget she was right there with us, running from the cops, riding with the gun in the car. Ain't it funny though? All these years, J-Lo stayed clean, kept her image. But now Ben Affleck's dropping her career is dead. You think that's coincidence? They're not that different from me. When you're that powerful, it's easy for money to cloud your judgment. Regular thrills just don't cut it anymore. You start chasing bigger and bigger highs, and the power itself, being surrounded by yes men, having everyone cater to your every whim, it warps your sense of right and wrong. The feds say I use my status to prey on young, vulnerable women, that I dangled promises of fame and success to lure them in, then exploited them for my own twisted gratification. I don't know. It's all a blur now. The parties, the women, the drugs.
As Diddy sits in jail awaiting trial, the repercussions of his case continue to ripple through the entertainment industry. Many are calling it hip-hop's Me Too moment, a long overdue reckoning with a culture of misogyny and abuse. Others see it as the inevitable result of an industry that has long glorified excess and objectification. But what's truly concerning is what's hidden beneath it all: wealth, power, and accountability. How did Diddy allegedly get away with this behavior for so long? Were there system failures that let abuse go unchecked? Or is it the money that bought freedom?
Part of me wants to shout back to defend myself, but what's the point? My reputation is in tatters. In the court of public opinion, I've already been convicted. All I can do now is wait. Wait for my day in court. Wait to see what evidence they really have. Wait to find out if I'll spend the rest of my life behind bars.
As Diddy grapples with his fate behind bars, the world watches and waits. Will justice be served? Will the accomplices pay for this too? Or even better, will the dark secrets of Hollywood's powerful elite finally come to light? We should remember that no one is above the law, not even a billionaire with friends in high places. The trial of Sean Combs is set to begin in April or May 2025. Until then, he remains behind bars, presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.